Hey guys, Chris here with another edition of our She-Hulk review. This is week number 6 of She-Hulk. Uh, a lot of fun again this week. I found myself laughing a lot at this episode, but also we got to see She-Hulk outside of that big bulky business suit that I was so tired of seeing her in. My first impressions this week, great episode. It might have been my favorite, to be honest with you. Just a lot going on. I've been hearing a lot of negative things about this show where people are saying this is garbage, this is the worst show ever, but it, Marvel knows what they're doing. They're trying to reach a broad audience, guys. And, you know, every show does not have to be about the end of the world. Let's have some fun with the characters. And if you're watching these shows and if you're a fan of comics, you remember what the John Byrne era was like for She Hulk. And that's what it feels like. She Hulk is having fun. We're seeing her as the vulnerable Jennifer Walters, but we're also seeing her as the strong and confident She-Hulk now, and she's really starting to own that moniker. So yeah, my first impressions, fun show, probably my favorite. How about you, Daniel? What did you think of this episode?
Oh, I really enjoyed this episode a lot. I wouldn't call it my favorite episode. I was still going to get that to the Madison episode. That was just one of my favorites. But I still really enjoyed this episode. There was a couple of really great characters in this episode. Not quite on the level of Madison, but I loved the Lulu, the Bridezilla, and I loved Mr. Immortal so much.
Yes.
And I just really have enjoyed this episode. I knew from the second going in where they said, yeah, this is going to be a single episode. She's looking at the camera. This is going to be a single episode about a wedding. You thought we were going to just turn it into high gear. I just busted out laughing. I thought it was incredibly funny. But yeah, overall, I really enjoyed this episode a lot. It's very funny. I really enjoyed the real focus on Jen, but I also really enjoyed that this episode focused a lot on her side characters and really gave them something to do this week. Really great episode, just all around. What'd you think, Josh?
Yeah, I love the fact that this is Marvel's sitcom, and they're hitting all the notes of a 30-minute sitcom. She mentions, hey, this is the bottle episode, that one standalone episode that you get in a sitcom. Oh, it's that wedding episode, the one that shows up at the worst possible time on the sitcom. Yeah, I mean, she mentioned that, and they're really playing to that. I think it was a well done episode. We saw a lot of things happen in this episode, and it sets up, and I believe it sets up the last three for a 3-part epic ending to the series. I mean, the whole setup, the fact, Chris, you mentioned John Byrne, her assistant called her Shulky, which was a nickname she got in the comics with John Byrne. That was brought up. There was just so much there. It was so well done. There's so many questions left unanswered from the show. So many things. Mr. Immortal Daniel was great. His kind of comedic take on Mr. Immortal, not wanting to look at the woman for 15 seconds, and She-Hulk's assistant going 20. That was just great. As far as favorite scene, it's tough. There were so many this week, so many. I want to say, the fight between her and Titania was great. The guy that she's meeting at the wedding, that was interesting, but a little bit of shade there. I'm worried about him. Um, you know, Even like I think my favorite scene is when you see her assistant talking to all those women that had been married to Mr. Immortal, and she starts running through and telling him you want this and you want that, and dealing with the divorce settlement that way. I think that was really well done.
That's probably my favorite scene too. I just thought that was very well done. It was hilarious the way that they were negotiating. It really was a great character moment for her assistant, really, just to be able to show what she offers to the law firm and to Jennifer, really. And I just really enjoyed that a lot because it was very comedically done, like you said, with him. Like, do I have to like look at her eyes for 15 seconds? And just all the way he reacted to that, seeing him fall from the window just to stop listening to women, just showed you kind of set up how he was going to handle that situation so great. Anyways, what was your favorite scene, Chris?
Yeah, first off, mad props to Ginger Gonzalez. She does a great job as the assistant. I love her character. She's awesome. She's just a smart, pretty, sexy secretary that assistant, and she looks, she does it so well, and she uses it. She talks about how she sent a thirst trap to Wong in an earlier episode, which was entertaining. So yeah, she definitely is doing a great job. She definitely needs some credit for doing that role, and she's a great companion to Tatiana Maslany. My favorite scene probably was, and let's go ahead and talk about it. Let's do all of our CGI in the daylight, because when She Hulk was walking up to that wedding, the CGI was beautiful in that scene. It was finally where it should have been. Let's not do anything else in the dark if we can help it, because they just flat nailed the CGI there when she's walking up, because probably the best scene I've seen of the whole show. Um, the earlier episodes, maybe the first episode when we saw She-Hulk and Hulk fighting, I thought was handled real well. That could have been botched really bad with earlier CGI, but they did good. But that scene in the daylight when she's walking up and the green is popping against that background is just really my favorite scene in the whole show.
It's
Overall impression. Yeah, go ahead, Daniel.
it's a great character moment for her because it does show her confidence as the She-Hulk after what she went through last week, really too.
Oh,
She's
one more
owning She-Hulk.
scene. Yeah, one more scene, Daniel and Chris. The part where she gets ready to fight Tatiana, not Tatiana, but where she gets ready to fight Titania, and Titania knocks her out and gets mad because she won't change. And,
Yeah.
and she's had a few drinks and she doesn't have She-Hulk's metabolism and she can't change. I forgot how to do it.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
thought that was
yeah.
hilarious.
It's pretty funny, and that one is a great scene. And when she's up there going, "I can take you, I can take you,"
Yeah.
and she's seeing double.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when she does finally change, that scene was just, the fight itself. What do you guys think? Do you think Titania's done with her yet? Now that she's taken a proper beating, or do you think we'll see her again?
She's too fragile an ego to
Yeah,
not try to get back after that.
Yeah, we're
right.
gonna see her again.
We'll probably see her again, but I think there's more things on the horizon there that She-Hulk needs to be worried about. Overall impressions on this episode, like I said, it was probably my favorite. There was a nice blend of Jennifer and She-Hulk, and we also got to see Mallory and her secretary, her assistant, just doing some really cool stuff there, and finding out, first fixing Mr. Immortal's problem, and then finding out about the She-Hulk hate website where they're trying to figure out how to kill She-Hulk, and so the actual very last scene, because we didn't get an end credit scene, we see somebody on a computer typing in the password, or the user was named Hulk King. At first I thought it said Hulk King, and I'm like, oh, are we going Secret Invasion? Are we starting to get there? But then when I watched it again, I saw Hulk King. So my theories, and I'll leave this open for you guys, and I'll turn it over to you, Daniel. My theories are this may be the leader.
Yep.
I feel like the leader may be coming back, and we have heard rumors that he's coming back. So, what do you think, Daniel? What was your overall on the show this week?
Overall, it's just another great episode. It's funny. It's great. A lot of great moments for all the characters, like you said. It's really they really have found a good balance between like her and her supporting cast, and keeping the focus on her. It's really well done. Just a lot of great moments for everybody in the episode. Having to see her kind of struggle with the bridezilla and things like that. It's just hilarious to me. I just love how she's like, I can't even be She-Hulk because I don't want to be like ruin my friends here. But then when she finally does and beats up Titania, and Lulu comes out drunk as a skunk and goes, I love She-Hulk. I'm glad you're here. Just a hilarious moment. She-Hulk is at my wedding. That's a great, great, hilarious moment. Just everything about this series is great to me. I just the humor, the story of the week sitcom in the Marvel universe, and seeing like in previous episodes, just how hilarious a law firm set up for superheroes could honestly, for superpowered beings, I should say, could honestly be is really great. And I'm really loving like how she has turned out, like how she's turned this into a great moment for the series. They're really making She-Hulk the powder keg for the comedy in the MCU. Really.
Yeah.
How about you, Josh?
Yeah, I agree. Daniel, one of my favorite shows that DC did was called Powers. And it was
Yeah,
about the insurance company where they were creating things for the superpowered people. And I feel like this takes that idea and bumps it up to another level. I
that's a
think
great
it's so
short-lived
well
series.
done. And for a bottle episode, this episode was full of Easter eggs. It was full of stuff to see. Mr. Immortal comes in and he's talking to all those ex-wives, and he mentions Baroness Cromwell. Well, Baroness Cromwell is, if they're referring to Lily Cromwell, she's a vampire. She's Baroness Blood, which means we got Blade and we've got Werewolf by Night coming. Even if she's not, she's still like the 18th century Baroness Cromwell, letting us know how long that Mr. Immortal has been alive. The Intelligentsia website it didn't have many Easter eggs, but it did have a caption about Cokeville or Cookville. And that was one of the places that Loki visited in the Loki series where they set off the bombs. Um,
Mhm.
the Intelligentsia brings up a whole number of characters. Chris, it brings up Dr. Samuel Stearns, who you mentioned, the leader, played by Tim Blake Nelson. We
Yep.
know he's coming in Captain America: New World Order because they've already said that. So the Intelligentsia is setting that up in She-Hulk. You have Egghead, who was a member of that. He was in the Ant-Man and the Wasp. He was actually Ghost father who died in a flashback scene. The Wizard, the Red Ghost, the Mad Thinker, Doctor Doom, all Fantastic Four villains, all members of the Frightful Four, have been members of the Intelligentsia. MODOK, who we know we're getting in Ant-Man and the Wasp, was a member. The Chameleon, who was a Spider-Man villain, was a member. The Trapster, another Fantastic Four villain. And finally, Daniel, this one's for you. Mr. Sinister, an X-Men villain, was a member of the Intelligentsia. Okay. I'm leaning, I love the episode. I love the show. I love it something different. And that's going to make a lot of people mad because they want the same old thing. But I love how Marvel shifts from, oh, it's an action film to it's a spy film to it's, a comedy. It just makes it so much more interesting. And I think it keeps you from getting bored over and over again with the same superhero movies. And Chris, I got a different idea for who Hulk King is. I like the idea of Tim Blake Nelson as the leader. I think you're right there. But what if it's Maestro? What if it's the evil Hulk from the future, from the multiverse? We are in the multiverse right now, dealing with time travel with Kang. What if we get the Maestro?
You could get that. You could get that. I wonder if they want to go there yet or not, though. Um, we
The
we we
Maestro
shall
is
see.
the Maestro is an Avengers level event there waiting to happen. That would be an incredible thing to pull out of the She-Hulk series to have that kind of character. So yeah,
Yeah, we're looking at like World War M if you go there, and
Yeah.
yeah.
so or World War Hulk. So those events could be coming. Universal is losing the rights to Hulk, and Marvel will gain it finally. So
Yep, that's the rumor going around. So I could see it happening. I think it would be great to see that character. And that's a character a lot of people don't know a lot about. It would be interesting to see on film.
cool. Yeah, definitely, definitely.
Well, that's all we got for you guys today. If you will check us out on social media, join us here, subscribe if you haven't already. Like this video, make a comment. Let us know what your thoughts are. Do you think it's the leader? Do you think it's the Maestro? Or do you think Marvel's throwing us a red herring and it's going to be somebody completely different? I'd love to know your theories, guys. Put it down in the comments. Ring that bell so that you know when we put up our next video. And in the coming weeks, we have the Havelock Comic Con coming up on November 19th. We will be there with a table set up with a lot of other people. It's going to be a big con. It's going to be a lot of fun. So join us there. Support your local comic shop. Go out and read these books. Chris is reading the current run of She-Hulk right now. Says it's great. Go grab it. See what you guys think. And until next time, we will see you at the shop.